Hi, I have an example here of an instrument that's played right through the Pacific Islands. This one I actually made myself out of bamboo, and it's a sort of version of a log drum. They come in different sort of lengths and widths, but basically they're a hollow chamber. It's had a slit carved in it, and they're struck on the side with sticks of some description. And they sound like this. The instrument I'm sitting on at the moment is called a cajon. Cajon is a Spanish word that simply means box, and that's all it is, a wooden box. And you'll see at the back they have this hole that sort of lets the sound out, and often inside the box, which is a little more difficult to see, they have guitar strings to create a bit of a buzzing sound. And it's quite an old instrument. It was first used, I guess, by the African slaves who had their drums taken from them, and so they would continue to play their traditional rhythms on the fruit boxes that they found lying around. So it's used extensively now in Cuba to play quite old African rhythms, but it's also made its way into Spanish flamenco music, and that's really where it's played quite a lot to accompany dance. And so it has quite a few different sounds. There are bass tones and quite high sounds, which they combine. You can play slaps, similar to a conga. So
this is an instrument called a kalimba, or thumb piano. It's modelled on a type of instrument called an imbira, which is found throughout Zimbabwe and South Africa. And being called a thumb piano, you play it with your thumbs, sometimes with your fingers as well. And it's just a little box that's hollow, of course, and that amplifies the sound. And then on top, it's got these tongues of metal, which are different lengths, and so therefore they produce pitches that are low and pitches that are high.
the instrument I'm holding at the moment is a conch shell, and they come in lots of different sizes and shapes, usually much bigger. What they do is they drill a hole in the end of the shell, so you can play it much like a trumpet or a trombone. So I'm going to put my mouth to that hole and buzz my lips to get a sound. I can change the pitch that I'm playing by changing my embouchure the same way that a trumpet player would, so I can get high tones as well.
So I'm going to show you some of the different sounds that I make with my guitar, and a lot of the sound is controlled with the pedals that I use, and I've got 3 examples here. These are all similar design where the pedal sound is activated by actually stomping on the pedal to turn the effect on, so to speak. Otherwise the sound is just what's coming out of my guitar, and the effects are bypassed. So this one here, this white one, it's called a digital delay, and what it is doing is effectively copying the sound that you've just produced and then repeating it back, and you can control how quickly or slowly the sound is repeated. So if I strike the guitar, you can hear that the same note's being echoed back. So it's really useful if you want to create a sense of density that you can't do without bringing along another 10 guitarists. So especially when I'm trying to create maybe an eerie sort of atmosphere, I might play and it's giving me this sense of lots and lots of guitars all continuing to play, so I get to have a little guitar orchestra with the delay. It's also used in other places in the kit with a less noticeable sound, And really, even though you can hear it repeating back now, when I'm playing a riff, I take it down a little bit more. While I'm playing the riff, it really is providing just extra reverb. The second pedal is a really simple one. It's called a super chorus, and the chorus is basically, the name of the pedal is about creating the illusion of many guitars playing the same thing all at the same time. But the sound that you get, it's sort of like a cold, and it's associated with a very funky sort of style of guitar. The third pedal is a distortion pedal, and it serves two purposes. One is literally to distort the sound, but the second thing is it also boosts the signal so I can create volume changes. And I'll use that somewhere where I want to create a little bit more tension or just more control of volume. So especially in Deepest Blue, I use the distortion and the delay together. So I'll put both of them on. And you can hear a bit of a hiss from the distortion pedal. It gives that sort of crunchy, extra crunchy sound to the main thing is also that, of course, all of these pedals are operated, of course, in tandem with what I'm doing on the guitar. And one of the main effects that I do is actually with my hands, which is a volume swell. So you play a note with the volume turned all the way off. So if I play the note, all you hear is the string acoustically ringing. And then I slowly turn up the volume on the volume knob, so it sounds like this. And then that, in combination with things like slides or bends, that's really how I'm creating the effects on something like Deepest Blue.
The instrument I'm holding at the moment is quite a modern instrument, invented in the 1960s. It has a few different names. I've seen it called the Waterphone or the Aquaphone. And basically it's two metal dishes that have been welded together, and then they weld on these metal prongs, and there's a funnel. So you can actually there's some water in there, which you may hear swishing around. And you can bow the prongs with a bass bow to get quite an eerie sort of sound while moving the water around. You can also strike the prongs, or you can also play the instrument by hitting the bottom of it with your hand.